Yo, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of Oh Shit, I'm 40. This is your boy, Gene Lott, and we are here with another episode. Today, we are at my man Joe's humble abode, the Bat Cave, where it all started, where dreams are made, and everything lasts forever. Well, no, what's going on, man? Welcome to another episode again of All Shit, I'm 40. This is Gene. I'm here with Joe. We got Mouse. And we got a special guest with us here. A man that we all hold dear to our hearts. My man, masonically, and brotherly, lovely, neighborly, all that. My man, Marcus Clarke. What's going on, man?
How y'all doing, man? Thank you for having me on tonight. I appreciate it.
Oh, man. He see, look, all right. He just like Joe. Got that quiet storm radio voice.
Man, it's 8 o'clock already. It's 8 o'clock already.
Got that quiet storm radio voice, man. Oh, man. Hey, I just want to welcome you to the show. We bring guests on, friends of ours and stuff, and we just like to make a nice, lively atmosphere, Oh, we had our co-host. He had to step out real quick. He's coming right back. But while we're waiting on Brother Mouse, just want to do just a quick monologue. Joe, we are almost done with our first season.
Wow.
Yeah, this is episode 10.
That's crazy because I haven't been calculating it, but this is fun, man. It's been so fun, and I don't look at this as like a job or anything like that. This is a hobby.
It's a hobby, right?
The fact that we can get together and network as young black men, and bringing our significant others into the picture every now and then, and have guests. It's been a dream come true. Hey, thank you again for inviting the brother to be a co-host.
Hey, appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. What's so crazy is we got 2 more episodes of this fantastic season, and we couldn't have done it without everybody. So let me just give a applause. All right, let me see if I get it. Let me see if I get it this time. Yes, got it right on the first time. An applause to all of our people who subscribed, who's shared us, who's following us, who's downloading every Wednesday at 7 a.m. I just want to say we appreciate all you guys for all that you do and just sharing the show and just making the show what it is.
How do you feel in your first year? I know we're getting into the show in a second to all our listeners, but for you as being the generator and the mastermind behind the podcast, how do you feel about the progression that is made and what do you look forward to?
I feel excited because it's gone beyond my wildest dreams. It's actually playing out the way that I hoped it would plan out, because all of us get together anyway. All of us talk crap anyway. All of us talk about some good subjects anyway. And now to put it on digital format and let the world hear it, it's amazing. So I'm just glad, and I appreciate you brothers for coming out, and I'm going to name everybody, Devin Smith, we got Joe Brickhouse, we got Terrence Gibson, we got David Jones, Marcus Munson, everybody who's come. I'm missing anybody?
Peace.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God. How could I miss Super Tease? Tease Keys for Success. Tease the Mastermind. Money Maker. I cannot forget all of you guys, man. And you guys have made the show what it is, So definitely shout out to y'all, man. And I'm just excited for what's going to happen, So we got Mouse. He's back. You're here?
Yeah, I'm back, man. I was on a little work vacation. I had a lot of work to handle and then also with the family. But I'm glad to be back, just checking in with you guys, seeing the work progress as far as with the show. I'm very proud. So,
thanks, man.
Hey, we got another quiet storm with us tonight.
I know. Why all of y'all got the quiet storm voices?
Hey, you gotta do Melvin Lindsay, baby. But just to see it grow and then more topics to come. We have serious topics, we have light topics. Just getting to the different areas, and then also bringing, people on with a lot of wealth of knowledge and expertise. Different insights. It's very pleasing to me we don't know it all, but you know, when Gene puts up, you know, the things on social media as far as the questions and the topics, you know, chime in more. I would like to get more feedback from you guys outside. You know, we don't know it all, but you know, everybody has their own story. Everybody has their own situation, and that's something that I like to see is the feedback. But I'm proud to be here, man.
Definitely. We appreciate you too, Mouse. And like Mouse said, we want the feedback, y'all. When y'all see us post, and it could be any one of us, you know, DM us something you want us to talk about. DM us a story. Email us. You know, just put it up in the comments section, anything. You know, because we want to hear from y'all too. You know, because we know it's men out here that's going through stuff, that may have went through stuff that we've gone through that we've discussed on this podcast. We want to hear from y'all. We even want to bring y'all on, you know. And so definitely. So we're gonna get started because, you know, we got a tradition here at All Shit I'm 40. Mm-hmm. You know, one thing. Go ahead, Mouse. Go ahead.
And I don't mean to interrupt you. One thing that popped out to me this weekend before we get started, 2 other Bowie State alum, Christian Robinson.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely.
You know, he's up on this platform dropping knowledge and dropping jewels, and also Antoine Cook.
Yep.
You know,
2 good brothers we played ball with at Bowie.
I just love to see, as far as men, you know, just coming and speaking out on certain topics and certain things, you know, it might be dear to them in life, also through work, also through social. But, you know, I want to give them a big up because the stuff that I've been seeing so far from them has really been inspiring.
Definitely want to try to get them on. And shit, Cook live right down the street.
Yeah.
So, hey, Cook, if you listening, I know you listening. I know you one of our subscribers, man. We got to get you on. You know, definitely got to get you on.
Those are Bowie State, man?
Yes,
Bowie
sir.
State.
Okay, I'm Bowie State, class of 2003. It's good.
We got one A&T guy here. You outnumbered tonight, Joe.
I was going to say
you outnumbered tonight,
Look at, man. I love the A&T, man. My family went to A&T.
Appreciate that. I was going to sit up here and be quiet, let Bowie State have their shine.
Nah, man.
But y'all are in my house.
See, you got that cowboy hat on, too.
So,
I can't stand that.
It's Aggie Pride all day.
Oh, my God.
And yes, I got my cowboy stuff on, so you already know.
Christ
hey,
Jesus
I'm a co-host, baby. I'm a co-host.
So, I mean, the thing is with that, y'all in a different division.
Here we go.
So I'm going to give y'all a respect.
Give him a pass. Give him a pass. But go ahead, Bob.
Nah, but, man, it's all love, Joe, man. I really, man, I just love the different college campuses and the stuff that you bring, man. It's excellent, bro.
No doubt. Same
Definitely.
Here,
So y'all know what we about to do, man. We're going to go around the table. And this is what sets us apart from other podcasts. Because we do what we like to do. We try not to match whatever podcasts and stuff do. We try to do what we do. We want to set our signature out. So y'all know what our signature is. We're going to go around the horn and see what everybody's drinking. So starting with me, Mouse brought this tequila over. It's a how do you say it? It's a general purpose. It's an all time. It is good. That Jose Cuervo Tradicional. I hope I'm pronouncing it right. Tequila Plata. And I mixed it with some tonic lime that Joe had in his beer cave refrigerator. and this joint is really hitting because it's definitely taking me back to Puerto Rico. So shout out to Teese and Jackie on their wedding, because not Puerto Rico. We went there before. It was Mexico. It's taking me back there.
Right. Big up to that, man. I know y'all had a ball, man.
Man, we had a ball. I'm still recovering. So, Joe, what you drinking?
All right, so light beer. I got a Modelo Especial, and took a shot of the Basil Hayden earlier. So you know, as we get into the podcast, you might hear the cooler rambling a little bit. Just me re-upping.
Hey, that's what makes us, man. Come on.
If you hear some ice in the background, I'm just popping another.
If they hear this. One of us will pick up a drink.
To make that a sound, that sounds good.
Oh, I gotta record that.
You gotta record that.
There it is. Mouse, what you got?
Just the same thing as tequila, man. Straight, you know, just sipping, man, bro.
Hey, we talked about it on our health show. Tequila's the healthiest thing to drink.
I mean, I always, like, long time ago, you know, they said top shelf is the best. I usually roll top shelf, you know, hit a beer, drink a beer here and there, but top shelf is what I mostly stick to. Don't take too much, you know.
There it is. And now, our special guest here. I'm going to take this over real quick.
Save the best for last.
What he's drinking, he shouldn't even be allowed.
Don't disrespect. Don't
first of all,
intro it.
you a grown ass man. We ain't call knowledgeable.
That's right. That's
we
right.
ain't
Brother
college
Clarke.
no more. We got money.
We got money.
See, that's it. I would like to segue into a conversation now. See, brothers forget about them red paper cups.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Hey, what we
I'm a Johnny Walker Blue sipper, but I will crack a 211, and that's what I'm drinking right now. I like this 211. This is 8.1 high gravity from the French Alps of Baltimore.
From the French Alps of Baltimore.
How about the dirty
dirtiest water
Yankee?
you can find in Maryland.
And that joint will get you rocked.
I have some bad stories with 211. Shout out to Big Dave, man. If Big Dave was here, he would know it was actually my sister that turned me on to 211 when she was down at the Eastern Shore.
The clusters.
Can't step on that grass, man. The chicken coop.
You know, it's funny. Clarke mentioned red cups as you sip out of the aluminum.
Yeah, as we sip out of some aluminum ball cups.
No
Yeah,
bullshit.
This is like that.
This cup might make it home.
Are these dishwasher safe? Like that.
Oh man, so still reserved. So we don't know if Clarke is actually going to stay up after he drinks that.
Well, I tell you what, 211 will definitely keep you up. Depending on what type of up you talk about.
Right,
'Cause
right,
that 211 wood is something
That's the
different.
wrong
We'll
episode.
say
Clarke.
high gravity.
High gravity.
Gravity.
Oh man, so look, y'all ready to get into it?
Do it, man.
Yes, sir.
All right, so we're gonna get into it. So today's topic, all right, is gonna be basically it's kind of a blend of two topics. It's gonna be about code switching, and then what is the modern day workplace? Okay, so this is how we're gonna get into it. We're all professionals. Joe, you engineer. Mouse, you a policeman. Clarke works in the education system. And then I do my super secret sleuth stuff for the Navy with Joe. And we all are in positions where literally they were hired us because of our different talents, right?
Right.
But I have found, and I've heard people talk about this, can you really be yourself in the workplace? They hired you for a specific reason, right? And part of that reason of why you're so good at what you do is because it's a blend of your personality, it's a blend of your experiences, it's a blend of your education, so on and so on. But speaking for myself, I found myself subconsciously code switching. And for those of you who don't know what code switching is, I actually recently found out about it that actually had a name for what I'm doing. Somebody actually named a beer code switch. And I guess it's pretty much when you work in an environment, like for me, that's majority white, and you don't want to come off as threatening all the time. Because I'm big, I'm black, I'm bald, I got a beard. I want to make people feel comfortable. So I might not be my loud, jovial self. You know what I'm saying? I might not be as direct. My voice might go up an octave or two. Why do I need to do that?
I don't think you should. Well, in today's times, I don't think you should. It doesn't matter what nationality, what color you are, or whatever. I think with today's times, people pretty much are accepted for who they are.
It's gotten better. I'll give you that. It's gotten better. But do you still say, all right, for example, we may work with a whole bunch of females, right?
Right.
We're married, but you don't want to come off as that guy.
What you mean?
Meaning, I want to be as less threatening as possible. I don't want anybody to think that I'm threatening them. I don't even want anybody thinking that I'm trying to be. And we on this podcast, I need to be as open as possible. You don't want to be that guy that's like, oh my gosh, here comes the angry black guy. Or, oh man.
Over aggressive?
Yeah, it could be over aggressive. I guess you could say that.
So I just think that comes under that person's temperament. That's not for everybody. Everybody can, be looked at a certain way. If everybody knows you for you, Gene,
right,
then that's how they're gonna accept you.
Okay.
You don't ever change. But I think that's being largely accepted right now.
Right.
Whereas in the past, you might came off something erratic, and they be like, man, I don't know what's up with him, this and the other, because of what we see on TV, how society perceives certain situations in the workplace.
Right.
So what if you are hired to be that angry black guy?
Right.
And in education, especially where I work, I'm the only black male as an area director, and now I can honestly say that I think they hired me because of my demeanor, my size, of course my background in education, but most of my site coordinators are all black women. The people that hired me were white individuals, and I think that plays a part in it. My size, my structure, how I talk. So, in certain vocational situations.
So is that why they always hire? And y'all was talking about deans earlier when we was off topic. You think that's why they always hire the biggest dudes to be deans?
I don't think it's pretty much the size. I think it's the person.
Yep, it's a demeanor.
It's a demeanor. It don't matter what size the person is as far as stature, things like that. I think it's the person. It's the demeanor. Like with me at work, my demeanor puts me where I'm at. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it puts me where I'm at because they know that I'm able to handle it.
Right. So, perfect example. The same deans and stuff that you see in school, Clarke, that you see most outside of work, do you think they have that same demeanor? Do you think they have that same personality?
I think he's talking about authenticity of a person.
The authentic. Thank you.
So I know for me, I'm the same person outside of the building. One, because you never know who you're going to see in the community that you see at work.
And kids can feel it too, right?
Oh, they call you out.
They call you
right out.
They will call you out.
And so it's on the person and whether they're true to themselves. I know when I'm at work, I don't have a switch. I'm Marcus Clarke. I'm Mr. Clarke. I'm in there the same way I am at the bar because at this age and this level, there's a certain way that I conduct myself out in public, period.
Right.
So I think that's something that needs to be discussed as well.
So, I'm going to switch over to you, Joe. Again, another example that I was given for code switching. Not going to name the name because they are very close to me. Sister-in-law. But if you hear a voicemail at work, you call her. Carla, don't beat me up for this. I wish I could play a voicemail. Very high pitch. Don't even sound like it. Like if you were to listen to her, don't even sound like her. But outside of work, outside that phone call, it's Carla. It's my sister-in-law.
So I'm not me being on.
But you got people who do that.
People who do that.
Yeah.
And I can relate to my wife how she is at work, as far as voice tone and stuff like that, is different from where she is at home. Now she's majority authentic at work,
right?
Because she has her own business. She serves a lot of clients or whatever, so she stays the same 100%. But in certain situations, my wife's her own business owner, so she got to protect her bag.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So it's almost she got to protect her brand.
Right.
Right. So, and Joe, I'm gonna hit you on this too.
It's good, man. I'm ready. Whenever you're ready.
It brings me back to when I was in the beer business, right? We were a black brewery.
Right.
And a white-dominated industry.
Right.
One of the things that set us apart was that we didn't code switch. So when you walk into the brewery, you would hear our music.
Okay.
You wouldn't see the normal beer dude in flannel shirts or anything like that. Y'all been in the beer before.
Well, Gene, to say on that, that's the authenticity.
And I think code switching all comes back to authenticity. So Joe, go ahead.
So I had a definition that I was looking up earlier this week. Just preparing and get on the podcast like we prepared.
Like Terrence, in the spirit of Terrence.
Absolutely, in the spirit of Terrence. So betterup.com, what is code switching? Code switching is the ways in which a member of an unprecedented group, consciously or unconsciously, you hit that, adjust their language, syntax, grammatical structure, behavior, or appearance to fit into the dominant culture, right? And you want to get on my dominant culture at work, obviously it's not us.
It's not us,
right?
Right.
So I had to literally just break down that the definition that betterup.com provided and just analyze myself as it relates to where I've been for 16 years next month. 16 years. So HBCU grad, like Clarke said, they hired, they knew what they was getting when they hired me.
Right.
I can honestly say that since the day I was hired to today, I haven't changed any of these things to become acceptable. Being genuinely who I am. Right. And the good thing about, as me and Gene was talking off of the podcast one episode prior to this, I was able to progress in my career. Right. Right. Being who I am. Right. And what I view as my acceptable. Right. By not changing. So yeah, when it comes to behavior, I mean, I'm not coming into work storming and cursing anybody out, but because I'm a respectful person, but I'm not going to adjust my behavior, for the workplace. And then the one thing I really wanted to hit was the appearance. Yes. I had an employer call me, one of people that I supervise. She was like, "Hey, Juneteenth coming up. What do you think about me wearing my Juneteenth shirt?" Now this is a government facility, right? I get where you're going, and I was like, "What?" Matter of fact, I just had on my Malcolm X shirt the other day. So I think that as in today's time, right, as we look at LGBTQ community and their acceptance in the workplace, right, we also have to find our
acceptance in the workplace.
But see, does Joe, that not? I'm sorry. Does that not come with time? Like you've been on your plate for 16 years, so you can wear that X shirt.
That's true.
But somebody who just started for 6 months, brother, I'm gonna need you in khakis. I'm
gonna need you and see what I was about to say, Joe. And Joe, you know this too. Yeah, it's a fine line between what we wear for Juneteenth and what they would consider political, especially when you go in the government. Government, you ain't really supposed to be political. I remember the first time I got a smack on my hand in the government, I wore a shirt, and it was basically, quote unquote, protesting. Don't turn Soho like in New York City into like don't turn Brooklyn or something into Soho. Yeah, and basically it was on my shirt, and I had a brother. It was a brother. Pulled me to the side. It was like, I understand what you're saying. They don't understand what you're saying. And if they don't understand what you're saying,
it's a problem.
It's a problem. It's going to be political. And they're going to be like, "Oh, you wearing some political shirt."
You wore this to work.
It was Dress Down Friday. Okay.
But I don't see that so much political. Don't turn Soho. I mean, we hear it all the time.
It's political because they don't understand that it's political.
They don't understand, but my thing is that's them personally.
Yeah. So basically, to put it in the context that we understand, it was basically saying, don't turn southeast into northwest.
Right. But what I'm saying is, and just that's I was about to lead into. We have all these, these things, and shout out to the movement, Don't Mute DC.
Yes. Shout out.
In the Go-Go movement.
Mr. Moulton,
Ron Moulton. Me and Key was just with Mr. Ron Moulton this past weekend at one of my wife's functions. But, I think that's just history. Yeah. And you talking about don't turn this into that. You want to preserve history, and that's what makes it what it is. So why is that seen as negative?
Because it's not understood. A lot, and I know we're going slightly off topic, but it's a good topic. A lot of things are looked at negative because I believe it's not understood. Right. And because it's not understood, they want to look at it negative or put it in a negative box and don't want to go in that box and try to understand it.
Right. But, I mean, for me, working.
We live, y'all. Y'all hear the kids. It's okay.
Me working, and I have to work all these details and, like you said, Juneteenth, parades and all these things. I'm out there with the people. I'm enjoying my people. Mm-hmm. And I don't care if a coworker sees me enjoying my people and my culture. Right. It's not hurting anybody. It's not offending anybody. It's just representing, my culture. Right. We represent all these different cultures all over the city.
Let us represent ours.
Right.
Right. No, I get it. Clarke, what you thinking on right here? You pondering.
I think where you work has a lot to do with code switching. Mm-hmm. And so because him and I, we had a great conversation prior to going live. Kids and authenticity, they will call you out. Yep. If they see that you're doing something that they feel or believe is not parallel to who you are as a person, right? Because of that innocence of a child, they're going to call you out real bad. So, code switching in the field of education is not a good move because your primary stakeholders, the kids and the parents, especially in some areas.
Right.
They will call you out just like that.
So that's
you
probably
don't
one industry you would
real.
not. That's probably one industry you would not. Well, I wouldn't call it industry, but one profession that you would really not.
You got to
see
be
it
genuine.
in.
You got to,
and that's the truth. And I mean, that's why they love Val. You know, because they see how real Val is.
Val, realest of the real.
You know, and she and again, I wanted to get her on the show too, but as we talked, I was like, babe, I can't have you on this show because you don't code switch for nothing. You 100. But I like what you said, Clarke, about the professions.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like, and I'm just being straight and honest here. It's like I feel like when I got into management, leadership roles, and like my profession, it was always that thing. What they tell you is, well, you really can't mess or what's the word they like to use? Fraternize with the lower parties. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But with me, I felt like somebody's gonna work harder for you if they know how 100 you are. Yep. You know what I'm saying?
But in the management position, you got to be cautious with that.
You got to be cautious with that because they can come back and use it against you. Yep. And that's why a lot of times I'm always guarded. Because believe me, it happened to me before.
It's funny.
It's happened. Go ahead.
I was really thinking, because I'm a manager and I got a team with me. I had to learn about that inclusion thing. Yeah. And how it can backfire. Yeah. And, you know, come back to haunt you because, like I said, you wanted to be like, all right, everybody feel comfortable with whatever their culture is. Quick story. I was at work, and my issue with the code switching thing, and if I, at that particular time, whether I felt it was appropriate or not, but this particular instance, I had an office with 4 people. 2 were Hispanic, 1 black person, and a white person in the room. And the issue was the 2 Hispanic people were talking Spanish in the room. And my question to y'all, I'm kind of killing 2 birds with 1 stone here. Do you feel like that's a version of code switching, or a good example of code switching, where, you know, people in the workplace
use their well, I and see, it's 2 ways of thinking. And Clarke, I'm gonna let you speak on it too. I always feel like if somebody is using their native tongue around me, especially if I ask them a question or something, or if they hear me talking, I feel like they're talking about me. That's why I carry my handy Google Translate and I turn that bitch on. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I've caught some people sometimes like, this stupid American. You know,
so
something
that's the issue that the other two office mates had, is like they felt like they were being talked about with the other 2 people because they wasn't talking English in the room, right, and they was using their native tongue.
And then even that's a fine line, because it's like, man, all right, I want you to use your native tongue. I want you to feel comfortable using your native tongue, but don't revert back to your native tongue to talk shit about me. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Knowing that I can't understand a word you saying.
I'm against it. It ain't coming from a supervisor perspective. Right. Don't do it. We're in America. Don't do that. I think that's rude.
That's your opinion. I respect that, because I feel the same way. I feel
you
it's
never
rude.
Know. They might be saying something about you, and you know
they could be calling you all types of whatever.
Moon,
you know what I'm
cricket,
saying?
Porch
exactly.
monkey,
and you don't know what they're saying. But going back to when I said I got burned like that, one of my first jobs out of college, I was working for a nonprofit. Okay. And before that job, I was coaching in college and stuff, coaching football in college. And I got a job, first time leading, out the gate, leading people.
Yeah, that's good.
You know? No, it's terrible, because it made me not want to be a supervisor for years after this experience. And I'm leading these people and stuff, but I came from the perspective of trying to be their friend and hanging out with them and doing drinking. No, you know what I'm saying? And it came back to burn me, because then they had ammunition to talk shit. Yeah. And was using it against you.
Yeah. Well, somebody's probably trying to take your position too.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And after that, I never wanted to be a supervisor for a long ass time. It took me till I was a grown ass man to ever want to be in a leadership position again. Right. Because it got to the point where you can't move up no further till you get to a leadership position. You know what I'm saying? But that experience right there left the nastiest taste in my mouth to where I felt like, man, I was really being my authentic self. You know, really being. Oh, that sounds good
Beautiful
right there.
sound.
Boy, that's a beautiful sound right
Yeah.
there. Pouring that
That
tequila.
came through clear. one of my rules of thumb, especially with social media and fraternizing and being talking to my staff. One thing I do, I go through social media and I block everybody that works for me, all supervisors. And my mother told me this when I was young. You never drink with your staff or your supervisors. Never go out drinking. So even as a teacher, I drank with the teachers, but I would never drink around my principals or my admins.
That's right. I agree. But I'm about to get our guest queued up.
Yep. I'm gonna read one more thing while you
Go ahead. While you get that queued up, I'm gonna go ahead and.
Why do people code switch? And this is just a paragraph that I found on same website that I mentioned earlier, betterup.com. Some code switchers will start using another language. We just talked about it to gain more or less social status or make a different impression. Other times they might switch to a different language to introduce someone to a group when that person doesn't share the same language as them. I can see that. So I just wanted to put it out there. But here's something else. I'm still studying this, so maybe if we do a part 2, I can kind of pick up on this. There are studies that show that code switching actually has an impact to your brain.
Really?
It's got to be trauma.
Sure.
That's trauma.
It has to be.
All right. So I think we got. Hold on. I think we got our guest ready. Rita. Hello.
Oh, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. I had you on mute. There you go. Rita, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you guys. Hello, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
All right, this is Bowie State night here on All Shit I'm 40. Because we got Mouse.
Don't do the hemming and the hawing. Don't do that.
She heard it all.
Don't do that.
So we got Mouse here, Bowie State graduate. You know, we got my man Clarke here.
What's up, Rita?
We got my man Clarke here, Bowie State graduate. And we got the one and only Gene Lott, Bowie State graduate and legacy, because the family went there.
Okay.
Yes,
sir. Yes, sir.
And you got, come on.
Who else we got?
Me?
Oh yeah, that's right. We got Rita. I said Rita.
Rita Lassiter.
Rita Lassiter.
Thank you. Proud Bowie State graduate as well. Thank you.
Definitely. So welcome to the show. It's the first time we had you on the show, and I discussed some things with you before when I asked you to come on. And tonight's topic is called code switching in the modern workplace. So right now we've been talking about the code switching aspect, and we have not really touched on the modern workplace aspect. Touched on it a little bit, but we just want to hear some from you because you work in a unique position. We're not going to name the unique position that you work in. We're not, but it's a very unique position. So we just want to hear some of your thoughts on code switching.
Okay, so first off, I thank you guys for having me on this evening. I was honored when Gene called to ask me to be a part of this discussion, and it's very timely because I literally just had this conversation with a good friend of mine yesterday, or maybe I think it was earlier this week, and then there was an incident that kind of was a follow-up that led to this very discussion that we're having tonight. So it's very timely, and I thank you guys for having me on. The workplace, modern day culture, et cetera, et cetera. Where I work, I would say, let me start with my background. I have about 20 years of experience in the both nonprofit and government sectors. So I'm all about service. Gene knows this. I'm all about service and community, giving back, and it ties to what I do professionally. I would say where I am now, there definitely is a culture. It's a mixture, a good mixture of the old school versus the new school, and I'm kind of in the middle because I'm a Gen Xer, right? So I get it from both sides. I get the arguments that, well, this is how we used to do it back in the day. This is how we've always done it. I get that. And then I get, well, that was great for them, but this is now. And you all should be more open to innovation and new ideas and technology, et cetera. And like I said, I'm in the middle, and I get both sides, and I'm influenced by both. So I will say that there is kind of that struggle play at times to try to do things different, to try to be innovative, to try to bring things to modern day. But also there's a struggle on the other side to learn and to try to gain understanding as to how things did operate, and just to try to find a happy medium. So Rita, I do see that struggle a lot.
So Rita, let me ask you.
Okay.
Are you a code switcher?
Ooh, wow. So, let me say this. I'm a Sagittarius.
Oh man, shout out to Sagittarius. Y'all crazy.
Oh wow. Thanks for that. What you see is what you get. Mm-hmm. And so wherever I am, whether it's in a professional setting, personal setting, I'm always going to show up as my authentic self. However, that question was posed to me not too long ago, given where I work. And the person asked me, do you often find that you have to put up the mask? My friend and I, we always talk about the mask. He works in the nonprofit world. I work in another world. Mm-hmm. We always talk about the mask and showing up as your authentic self and being, finding commonality in community and feeling connected in said community. And I will say that I'm always going to kill you with kindness because that's just the person that I am.
Right.
I'm never going to be disrespectful. That's not how I was raised. But to cold switch, I think that's a little strong. I feel like my work speaks for itself, and so I try to lead with that.
So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
So do you think, and this is for everybody to answer, do you think code switching, serious code switching, do you think it's a generational thing? Do you think it's something that the baby boomers did to get to where they got to? And do you think that it kind of like tapered off as the other generations came in? Joe, I'm gonna shoot that to you first.
Yeah. Hello, Rita. By the way, Aggie Pride.
Hi.
To you. So, yeah. So for me,
he had to throw that in there.
I had to. I was sitting on it.
It's all good.
Yeah. So for me, I think I don't know if it's the generational thing. I think as through our discussions today, I think it's more of a personality type thing where you're feeling like as you're identifying who you want to be, right?
Right.
What type of person you want to be and then I didn't realize this, as people progress in their career, right? They feel like in order to get to that high grade position at work, they got to be a certain way, right? And be a GS-15, or to be a dean at a high school or a college, or to be a lieutenant, on the police force. Some people feel like they got to change to get to those higher levels, right? So for me, to get back to the core of the question, I think it's more of a preference, personality type thing as to why people do it.
And that's why I feel like it's generational. Like I said, I do it a little bit. Only because if I see it, and Joe, speaking to you, if I see a 2-star, 3-star, excuse me, my ass puckering up a little bit. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Just a little bit. You know what I mean? But I think it's really, in my opinion, I think it was generational. I don't know. Maybe I could ask Revy Rev, but I don't think my dad code switched. My dad ain't take shit anyway.
I think. To be honest with you, like you said, I agree with you as far as being generational, but I think it's for some people.
Right.
I think it's for some people. Like, I always remember my mom, she never code switched. Whatever. She worked in a law firm and, one of the head secretaries and things like that. But I think as far as time, like you said, for that generation, they had the code switch to get themselves opportunities.
Right, to get
themselves open doors for certain things, which isn't bad. And I think that they eventually, once they got in there and changed some things up, I think that, I think that they, were themselves, but I just think as far as the timing of that position, because of a lot of the older generation, they were the first to do a lot.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
And I want you to hold that, because we're going to segue into that when we get to the modern workplace.
Okay.
I want to hear Clarke's.
I think, good evening, Rita. It's nice to meet you too, first and foremost.
Nice to meet you.
All
and
right.
I would like to follow up if I can after Clarke.
Yeah, right after Clarke.
I think code switching really boils down to the person. And we go back to that word authenticity again. I'll go back to a personal example. One of my programs, a parent came in, and that parent happened to be the Grand Master for DC, Quincy Gant.
Yeah.
And so he came in, and I looked. He didn't know that it was me. And then I looked at him again, and we looked, and then we gripped up, and it was it. I didn't start saying, all this other stuff, because I don't think.
We see that with a lot of people.
Yeah, my personality won't allow me to do that. So my takeaway from this conversation, my conclusion, that I really think it boils down to the person. Now, some people say that you have to code switch to get to a certain place so you can change from within.
Right.
I respect that. But when it gets to a point where you're doing something where you have to tell yourself, that's not who I really am, but I got to do this to get here. Now you have to face yourself. Right. And I think that's the downside of code switching. Exactly. So you got to be true to yourself. And if you have to come home at the end of the night and change your whole persona and remind yourself of who you really are, I think you failed.
Right. Or you might be in the wrong job.
True.
Yeah.
True.
That part.
Rita, you said you want to follow up?
Yes, I wholeheartedly agree with you, Clarke, because first off, if I could start off talking about my dad. My dad was in the Navy, and then, of course, once he retired, he went into federal government. And it wasn't until later on in his life, probably right after he died, that I learned certain things about just his professional trajectory. One being that he was passed up for multiple promotions within his particular agency because his colleagues wanted the other person, and I'll leave it at that, the other person, to have the position. So I feel like whether you're Gen X or baby boomer or millennial, if a person has an agenda, personal, professional agenda, and they want what they want, or they want to get what they want their boy or their girl or their preferred person to have, it doesn't matter age, all of that stuff. I think that just goes out the window. So when personal and professional agendas are in play, people are going to rock out and do what they have to do to get it. That's number one.
And that's just some universal. Yeah. That's universal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number two, I have personally seen where a person will sell themselves to be one thing and promote themselves as having all of this experience and having the knowledge and the know-how, and then once they are put out on Front Street to prove that they are who they claim to be, they stumbled and they fumbled.
Hey, Rita, pause right there though. My mentor, who's got me to great places, said, once you become a supervisor, the greatest thing you can do is hire people that know more than you.
Makes you look good.
Not only does it make you look good, but you're going to learn from them, and then they are going to be able to be, because what, and I'm going to get back to you, Rita, but it just struck me when you said that. I want to hire people that know more than me, right?
Yeah.
Because I want them as a supervisor to succeed and be better than me anyway.
Every supervisor doesn't have that principle, which
elevation.
is good.
Exactly.
It's called elevation.
And when you have people that are so fixated on titles and shines, they're not thinking about teamwork. They're not thinking about how is this person.
They're thinking about how to maintain it.
They're thinking about how to maintain it. Yeah. So I've seen it across the board. Again, so I don't know if it's generational. I just think it depends on the person. And for me, like I said, I try to show up as my authentic self in every single setting. And the way I was raised just would not allow me. It would not allow me to be something that I'm not. I'm not going to sell you a dream. What you see is what you get.
So that's a perfect segue. Now we're going to get into a little bit of the modern workplace. And this kind of stems from a conversation me and you had, Rita, about, and I've had it with tons of people also. When it comes to, we're older millennials, all right, because it's two subsections of millennials. Sorry, if you was born in 99, 93, all like that, you ain't no millennial. Nah, y'all somebody else. But the older millennials
Still subscribe to the podcast, though.
Yeah, still subscribe to the podcast. Older millennials, Gen Xers, baby boomers. And this comes about because I remember when I first got my first big promotions and stuff. And my dad always used to say, man, when I started in the government, I was a GS2. I didn't even know it was a GS2 until I looked at the scale. And this is back in like 70s, son, right? And then he's like, you come out of college, you come out of this and that, and you at this grade already. Like, you know how long it took me to get here? Right. And I talk about that is because I see with millennials how aggressive we are and what we want. But then our parents, they were like, I'm going to sit back, wait for my turn. And a lot of times that turn didn't come, and they should have waited. They waited longer than what they were supposed to have waited. So I'm going to get y'all thoughts on that. What do y'all think?
Do you think something about time? And that's what I said earlier. I spoke on earlier as far as time, the setting that they were in. You know, as far as opportunities and certain things.
Right.
But also, not just opportunities, what they seen in the past.
But I feel like a lot of times our parents were content.
But that's what I'm saying.
They were content. They was like, I'm getting a paycheck.
What they seen in the past, I got this good government job.
Right.
Ding, 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 ding. There you go.
Right.
They didn't believe in ruffling feathers. Nope.
I'm going to stay where I'm at. I ain't going to make no waves.
Right.
You know? And I think sometimes that could have been a detriment because I feel like a lot of opportunities could have passed them up. And I mean, my dad has even admitted a couple of times where he was like, you know, I could have took this assignment to this field office out here, but I stayed here because, hey, I knew your mama ain't want to move. I ain't want to uproot y'all, blah, blah, blah. I can't remember. I think my dad was going to move us to St. Louis. He had an opportunity to go out there. I can't remember what it was, but that was one thing he said. He's like, nah, I was thinking about y'all.
I'm being honest. I think all of us do that. You know,
I think we do, but I think we're more ambitious than our.
We're more ambitious, but the thing is I think that as far as, you know, us men, you know, in the household, I think we do think about certain things as far as elevation when it comes to family.
Right. But I would say, too, our wives will give it a thought.
Oh, yeah.
If the money is good.
They going to give it a thought.
And they going to really give it a thought. They're like, well, you know what?
I could use that S560.
Right. Yeah. Whereas our mothers were like,
bide your time.
Yeah. Right. Maybe next time. Yeah. You know, the next time don't come. So where do you think that shift came to where millennials was like, we want to get what we want, as opposed to baby boomers that was going to buy their time, as opposed to Gen Xers? And Rita, you can jump in on this, where you're a mixture of both, where you're scoping out the land, but you still being aggressive. So is that an accurate description, Rita?
That is an accurate description. I would say that our generation is a mixture of both. I see it in both because there's one side of the Gen Xers, and there's a division, not a division, but there's multiple pockets of Gen Xers. You've got the older Gen Xers that are like my brother's age, that are like mid 50 and up. And then you got
wait, 50. Whoa, this is all shit. Yeah. I'm 40.
Yeah, I know. I know you're a baby. You just.
Oh, here goes. She called me a baby. You just a baby.
But then you have the other Gen Xers, like the late 70s, early 80s babies, where we're kind of like, first off, I refuse to be unhappy. So if I'm unhappy, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to change that so that I am. But I have seen it in that pocket as well, where it's like, well, no, I'm making these points. I got 5 years left before I'm fully vested. I'm not leaving. And it's kind of like, but are you? What makes your soul happy? I've been saying that all year. What makes your soul happy? What makes you leave? I mean, do you wake up every single day just feeling like, oh God, I gotta go back to this place again, or you're physically feeling ill?
Go ahead, Clarke.
You're going into a place that makes you,
So is it considered aggression or progression?
Ooh. Damn, say that again.
Is it considered being aggressive? Is it considered being aggressive or being progressive? So I think our generation, we attack the higher pay scales. We put the work in. And yeah, as a married man, and we're all here married, yeah, my wife is my number one coach. And I do things for the family. So I don't think I'm being aggressive. I think I've put in the prerequisitory work, the experience, and I want to go for the bigger paycheck. Right. And I don't think there's a problem with that. And I don't think we should consider that being aggressive. I think we're progressive. And my parents put that in me. You know, my mom worked for Senator Strom Thurmond, and she had to, both of my parents were attorneys, and she was a woman who filed a lawsuit against Senator Strom Thurmond. My father worked for the United States Court of Appeals for the Armed Forces. He got passed up as a judge for many times, many opportunities. And I remember him telling me, and my mom would say, you know, you're a young black male, you're educated, you got to wait. And I would have many arguments with my parents like, no, I'm not going to wait. I'm in education. Y'all chose law. I'm going to go as far as I can. You haven't been in long enough. Right. And then we had those arguments. And so I don't think I was being aggressive or disrespectful. Right. I knew my worth, and I went for what I felt like I deserved.
And that was the thing, especially early on in my government career. And in anything I did, it was always, you hear from the older folks, man, you just got here. What you trying to get for that position for? I'm like, why not? You know, why not?
Be your own people.
Why not? And thank you, Clarke.
Oh, yeah.
It be your own people that try to hold you back because maybe they didn't go for it at that age. So they don't want to feel, quote unquote, shown up. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But you know what? They were operating out of fear. They were operating out of fear. They always went with the sure shot, with the good thing. I can say just personally, even going to college, my dad wasn't familiar with that life. He was a military guy. So even the whole process, he was like, oh, well, what does that look like? You don't want to go into the military? You don't want to go and seek a trade? And I was like, yeah, no, that's not what I want to do. Or knowing that I was into music as a child. And at some point, I was like, this is something I may want to do. I might want to pursue music business. I don't know, maybe even be a vocalist. I don't know. But guess what my dad told me? There's no future in that. That's not a sure thing. Why don't you go over here and you major in psychology? Because that way you can pursue your doctorate. Why don't you get the sure thing? And while you're working on the sure thing, you go ahead and you get that quote unquote good government job. Like I heard it. So and it's funny, operated out of fear.
It's funny you say that because a couple of podcasts ago, we were talking about our children in college, Joe. Remember? Yeah. And Terrence even came out. Shout out to Big Gibby. Terrence even came out and said, you know, I'm gonna push my kids into what they want to do. Right. So if they want to become YouTube stars and make money that way and everything, if that's what they really want to do, I'm going to push them into that. Because, again, like we said on that show, a lot of us only had those couple of options. College, military, you want to get a job somewhere. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And sometimes that could be a detriment, you know, because it's not what the kids want to do. Right. You know, and then you know what happens. They're going to rebel. Because it's not what they want to do, and then you done wasted money. You know what I'm saying? So closing thoughts, Rita. First of all, we glad that you hopped on. This is so last minute. You know how I like to do. I call you, be like, hey, what you doing? Need you on the show.
It's okay. Because when I initially saw it, I was like, oh, I'm free. I don't have any calls. And then right at the 30 mark, it was like, oh, I do have a call. So I've been juggling a couple of calls.
I appreciate
public service.
Do you have? You still got your photography business? You want to shout it out real quick while you're on the air?
Okay. Well, yes.
Real quick.
Posting a lot, but please, Simply Stated Studios on Instagram. Please check out my work. I do still shoot. I shoot a lot for work. But go to my IG page and you can see kind of my craft, my passion, my love. It's something I picked up a few years ago, and I really enjoy it. So
she's doing it. Simply Stated Studios. That's it, right? Simply Stated Studios. And on Instagram.
Yes, sir. So I do appreciate you guys for having me tonight. This is a great conversation. Again, I just say go with what makes your soul happy, what makes your soul beat, what makes you smile when you wake up in the morning. That's what you should roll with.
Well said.
Definitely. Thank you, Rita. I appreciate it, man. And you're always welcome on All Shit I'm 40, okay? Even if you talk about us younger, we're older millennials.
I do not talk about you guys. I don't do that. I got love for everybody. So thank you again, fellas. I look forward to meeting you guys at some point.
Definitely.
Now that the world is open back up.
Yes. Thank you, Rita. Have a good one, all right?
Okay, you too. Thank you, guys.
All right, but man, that was a great conversation. As you know, we always have some great, insightful guests, and she hit on a lot of good points.
We got two great guests on. Like
I know Clarke is Clarke ought to be a regular. He ought to be number 8.
I appreciate it.
In the lineup, man. Clarke ought to be number 8 in the lineup. But I mean, I'm glad we talked about this too, because I feel like the code switching, the modern workplace, they all flow together. You know what I'm saying? And I know for myself, I'm getting a lot better at it. I never fully code switched, but I know at times I could not be my authentic self. And half of it is PTSD from that first time I was a supervisor. I was talking to Clarke about it, you know, where, you know, I got burned. Yeah. And a lot of times I'm protecting myself now. You know what I mean? But I do feel like when I am able to be my authentic self, I am my best person when it comes to work.
Well, you got to understand this. Times change, and somebody might have a personal agenda against you. You know what I'm saying? So don't stop being who you are. You know, a lot of people, you know, when they get into some stuff and get burned, you know, as far as the workplace, you know, they want to change up and be straight and narrow. If that's who you are, as far as being who you are, you know, and staying genuine, then don't change that. That's just that particular person. You know, one thing I learned from my pops, you know, my pops taught in DCPS over 30 years and Department of Public Recs, but he always said, man, you know, never change up who you are. You know, because like Clarke said, they're going to respect, they're going to see that genuine side.
Right.
And, you know, you're going to have some naysayers, you're going to have a lot of people that are for you, or whatever the naysayers, that might be just be a personal agenda. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But you gotta understand, don't change who you are. And I don't care, like, whatever your job title is, whatever position you at, they gotta respect who you are. And
respect the person and the position. Well, respect the position first. Right?
I think it's accepted more now. You know, in the past it wasn't, but I think it's accepted more now. You know, even with, you know, example, even with my position, I haven't made this far. I made this far by being who I am.
And it served you well.
It served me well.
Definitely. And Clarke, I can say with you too, you know, being who you are, you know, and even being who you are outside of work. Exactly. Which has made me respect you even more because I know at all times I'm going to get the 100% of you.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And even when we're in the places that we are in, you are 100 and people have to respect that.
Yeah, they got to. Or
they
see me.
Right. Or see you outside.
Or see me.
You know?
Or see me.
Oh, yeah.
That's his favorite right there.
And straight up, that's one of the first things I respected about this man.
People don't want that smoke.
Yeah, and that's what I respect about Clarke. That's what I respect about everybody that's here. Joe, all of our whole group, is that we are our authentic selves, you know, at all times, except when the wives come around. So I'm joking, but no, we are our own selves, and that's what the wives love about us, and that's why the wives love us all to be together, because we can be even more of our own selves.
Yep. I was myself when we were at that lodge meeting, and we had a brother that called me, what do you say, I wasn't seasoned or something, and I had to check him right then and there. I've been doing this since July 19, 2008. Yes. Don't call me a rookie in the craft, and I said that right there to him.
Right there.
And I don't want to come off as aggressive,
but I'm speaking your truth.
I had to let people know, because if you let somebody play with you, and I've been in situations where people will take advantage of that,
right. Sure.
And it will plague you for the rest of your life. Yeah. And I made a vow to myself, I can't have it anymore.
I was sitting in my corner like this. I was like, I don't know how this gonna play out. But when you told him the truth, and you was 100, he had no choice but to respect you after that. He was like, oh. And then it came out with, oh, I didn't know. Yeah. You know, ignorance is a fool.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Ignorance is a big fool.
Definitely.
So we got some last parting gifts, man. Man, we made some good time tonight.
Really good time. Really good time.
Really good. Joe, you got anything you want to say?
No, I mean, like I said, from my perspective, I'm thankful for being in my career for 15 plus years and being able, like I said, the day that they came to North Carolina A&T to recruit me to come work for them, I think they knew what they was getting. And I'm glad that, you know, I was able to come into an environment where I could be myself and, you know, just progress. And again, from the time that I started work to now, my career aspirations have been met. So I'm happy, man.
Nice. Mouse, you got any last parting shots?
Man, this was an awesome episode, bro.
Yeah.
You know, me and my wife, we talk a lot about being genuine and true to yourself, especially with today's world and what's going on. But like, this really explained a lot of stuff as far as work.
Yeah.
Also personally.
Just about to say that. Being true, not only professionally, personally in your friendships.
Yeah.
Personally with family, everything. So you spot on with that.
Nah, man, I loved it. I enjoyed it, man. Thank you, guys.
Man, thank you. Brother Clarke, man, what you think?
I appreciate being around a group of intelligent, seasoned black men, married men. I think that's important, too, that we hang around each other and support each other and have conversations and dialogues such as this. This was a very, very good podcast, man. The conversation was flowing. I'm around intelligent guys. I got goosebumps now.
Man, we appreciate you,
I appreciate
man.
the invitation. I hope it's not the last one.
Oh, and to think you wasn't trying to jump
He wasn't trying to join on.
Before we get off air.
He wasn't trying to go on.
Man, I'm just going to sit back. Nah, bro, you got a lot to offer, man.
I appreciate
For
that.
real, man.
A lot.
Appreciate that.
He said, I'm observing. Man, but look, man, hey, we just glad that this is why this podcast was created, was to have these conversations, to get brothers around, to be able to express themselves in a safe environment, to not feel like they got to hold back. And this is why we're doing what we do. So, again, I want to thank everybody for, listening to us, subscribing, downloading. Please spread the word. We want to hear from y'all, all right? We want to hear from y'all. Just like Mouse said, post comments, DM us, send us some questions and everything. You know, we're going to put them on the air, all right? We want to hear from y'all. Thank you, guys. Y'all are making this first season awesome. And, again, thank you. This is Gene live from All Shit I'm 40. Peace.